yourself. We're back.
Yes,
We're
well,
back in the
welcome,
podcast.
welcome. Yes. So
It's
how are you today, JJ? I'm so happy that we're doing this together, and
uh-huh.
I adore our last guest. He was amazing.
Yeah.
He was
He's
amazing.
a pretty dear friend.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy that we connected with him.
So
So,
I know that you've been going through a lot of personal development, and I think that it's important because of part of our podcast is to talk about the issues that we go through in our everyday life. And I thoroughly believe that what you're going through, every single person should listen to. And
mm,
that's so tell us what are you going through right now? What are you doing to release your trauma? And I want to tell my audience, our audience, that JJ is 23 years old and he's courageous enough to face what's
mm.
troubled him, and he's working on releases so that he can be the best version of himself. So I want to give an applause to that because that's amazing. It takes courage and it takes
Oh,
passion to peel that onion. So you tell us what's the process and how is that looking like for you?
thank you so much for all that. I really appreciate it. So basically, right now, uh, I was with a psychologist that has helped me, but I was feeling like very uncomfortable, unsettled, like lost, like if you don't have like ground, and also that I was not growing, stuck. So I hit myself in the head one day, and everything happens for a reason. That's when you realize it. And because of that, after several things happened, like a month later, I had an idea like why I don't ask for a Reiki practitioner to do a healing for me because I was still having symptoms. So I went to one, and the interesting part that is something that I'm learning, I saw two options, and one of those options had more positive reviews. But I felt like I don't know the energy or the picture or something. I felt that the one that has less positive reviews, I wanted to go to
Okay.
her. So the more rational option was to go to the one with more positive reviews. However, I went with my intuition, and I went with that. I had the Reiki session, and I had a really positive experience. And the symptoms that I had were a lot better after that. So I didn't know that that person, that her name is Aura, the one that made Reiki to me, also had a therapy called the healing to the inner child therapy. I didn't know that, but I think that following my intuition just guided me to that place. And just after finishing the Reiki session, she said she took some tarot cards and she
Nice.
told me, okay, so ask the angels and so on her guidance and took one card, take one card. So I did that. And the card that came out was the inner child card.
Nice.
And it was beautiful, a beautiful message. And then she told me that, oh, I have a therapy about healing the inner child. I think
Yeah.
that you will like that. So I took it. I did it last week, and it was absolutely amazing. Like the experience was so much more different than just trying to solve it intellectually, because that's like my tendency to try to through thought to solve my emotions and my trauma and so on, which ultimately is something that is only healed through experience and through emotions and through emotional release and the body.
And the
Uh,
body.
so I, in that experience, I had a lot of expressing my anger towards my mom, towards my dad. Also meditations. Also I had forgiveness meditations in which I was guided into beautiful places in which I connected with my mom and my dad in my
Nice.
imagination, and I saw them in their own wounds and trauma, and
Beautiful.
try to connect empathically with them. And all that helped tremendously. I had some readings too. A beautiful reading about that teaches you that ultimately it has an analogy of that your parents give you some coins, and the Aura gave me these coins. I even have them near me because I love it. So your parents give you some coins, you don't know how many they are, if they are made of metal, gold, silver, or whatever. But ultimately they are the coins that you need to actualize your potential in life for your soul and so on. And are the only coins that you yourself authentically need. And the key is to realize that the only place that you're going to find those coins that are the gifts that you need in life is from your parents. It's not from a partner, it's not from a business, it's not from money or travel, so on. Is only from them, and you need to heal your relationship with them in order to really be healthy. So that's what I'm realizing. And that tale that I read about those coins touched my heart really deeply. It was amazing. Even if you can see, this is something really emotional to me. Sometimes I also get nervous, but when I get in this state, I get red,
Oh,
and my
okay.
face is red too, because it's something that really my wounds and my trauma, or I don't know, all that connects deeply with me. So and doing those releases, and when I have all those emotional moments, I get into that state too. So I did all that, and I felt the positive side is that I felt more detached to certain things, because when you realize that, well, ultimately, the wounds or the things that I don't like in my life is things that I'm creating myself. And so I have the power and I have the responsibility to create the life that I want by myself. And anyone else is going to build it for me or to me. It's just myself. So when you're attached to someone, for example, I feel attached to my partner less now. Uh, that experience is like saying to that partner that she has those coins and she is going to give you your happiness. And that's why you get attached, because you're scared that she's going to leave with your coins and you're going to get all lonely and sad. But actually, those coins are within yourself, and you are the one that is making unconsciously your life a hell. Uh, so is coming back to your inner home, that your body is your own home, and trying to clean that home and making it a beautiful place in which to live in. That's the goal of therapy. Taking out the things that are unhealthy within this home, uh, clean it, cleaning it, changing the windows to have more perspective about what is outside, because a lot of times it's really muddy and dirty, those windows, and making it also fun. That home, make it painting that home so it's colorful, that it has beautiful pictures and paintings also, if you like that, and so on, is making your inner experience so yourself and so authentic that you could be alone in your apartment, no matter if it's small, big, whatever, and you can be joyful because you're alive and you're yourself, no matter what is yourself. Maybe sometimes I'm shame myself for being indecisive sometimes, or being sometimes quote unquote weak, but the healing starts when I realize that a lot of times that shame that I produce to myself is because that's what I learned because of the wounds of my parents, especially my mom, in terms of that shame, trying to always be aligned to a rigid structure of rules and commandments of what should be done and what shouldn't makes me so shameful when I'm not perfect and when I don't go align with that ideal. But that's something that is just an idea. It's not the experience of life. When you realize that when you are indecisive, that's something that you can love too. If you see a child, for example, that doesn't know exactly which ice cream he wants to eat, well, you see that's something cute. Uh, so why you're so hard with yourself when you sometimes do that? It's because we think that an adult should be in some ways or the other, and we don't put those shoots to the child. Well, we are actually starting to do that more and more, so that's why even in childhood we have um, stressed childs and childs that looks like adults, and that's not the best way to live. A lot of times we do need structure, we do need like limits within we can express that inner child, of course, but those limits cannot be so tight that you can't even move fluidly and authentically. That's something that I'm learning too, that I
Very,
need to find that balance between self compassion, that's the thing that allows me to be authentic and fluid, like the inner child, and also self respect. That is that side that needs certain structure, that needs to be self discipline, and that needs to have strategy to achieve what ultimately is aligned with myself, which is authentic, not what I should have. And that's really, really huge. And it's like the main task or goal or desire that I have in my life right now is to start getting more clarity by releasing anger, especially right now. And when I release anger, naturally the love comes out and the compassion, because you have like an armor
mm-hmm,
that is made of anger. Naturally, or your essence is love and compassion. You don't have to build more, you just have to release your armor or your wounds. So that's what I'm trying to do, to release that anger. So naturally, I'm more myself. And after getting that clarity and that release, is just allowing myself to be myself while also allowing my adult part to give structure and that strategy to being myself. So that's what I'm being feeling and what I'm doing. And yeah, I'm really grateful for having that experience with that therapy. And as I told you, I felt really guided by my intuition and also by the God within, like all that.
yeah, very good. So I want to interject with all the beautiful things you said.
Mm-hmm.
So, or something I've been learning myself is the need for us, since we are a child, like to learn that when we come here in this space, there's three aspects of who we are that we most looked after, but nobody teaches us, which
Mm-hmm.
is our body. We have to take care of the body because the body is the ship, is the vessel that takes us everywhere.
Yeah.
Then we have to guard our mind, our brain. We have to look after it, our thoughts, because our thoughts are going to create our reality, our words, and then our essence, which in my life is our quantum energy, the
Mm,
vibration, that which take us everywhere, which guide us, which is with us when we're sleeping and when we're awake.
yeah.
So what you're going through is part of these teachings that we have received, that we don't learn how to look after ourselves as humans. We come here, we're thrown into this empty space and like, okay, do your best. Right?
Yeah.
And then of course, depending on where you're born, you're going to have that cultural impact. Because
Yeah.
if you would have been born in a different family with a different mother and father, you'll be going through a different experience.
Yeah.
So when we come into this space, I think it's super important, and I'm going to write a book about this, which is to take care of those three essential parts of who we are. Because once we release the attachment, when we understand that we come through our parents, but we are not our parents.
Mm-hmm.
We're not, we're come here to experience, to have a solo experience in our vibration and energy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, then things become a lot easier, and we become easier to forgive other people for uh, their unhealed parts. Because
Yeah.
the thing with what you're experiencing right now is beautiful. You're going through your transformation, and you're going to be elevated at a different level. And when you get here, you're not going to be able to be with the people that are here.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if all of us were taught about our potentiality, our need to overcome the pain within, the anger, and to focus the energy into living the life that we really want to, rather than living the life we were dealt with. Because a lot of times we said,
Mm.
oh, this is the life I was giving, and now I have to, right? I have to deal with this.
Yeah.
That's not true. That's a fallacy. But it's because, again, nobody teaches, and I only know this now because I can see my body, because I didn't take care of it at the early stages in my life. I'm only starting now, and you're 23 and I'm 53. So
Mm.
there is this huge gap on how I looked after myself. So
Yeah.
now I'm trying to reverse all the damage that I done through the pain, the suffering, because our emotions uh, trigger sickness and illness in our body. When we go
Mm.
through a very traumatic experience, a divorce, the death of a child, a person can develop cancer, or he can develop a tumor because we hurt so much. So if we were taught how to mind our mind,
Mm.
our body, and our force, our body,
Energies.
our powerful energy,
Uh-huh.
I think we will experience life with more joy and less suffering.
Yeah.
Because because we're
Okay.
constant, we're thrown into this mix. Like, for instance, you have your trauma, I have my own trauma with my own parents. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, why did I come here to experience this shit? I don't want, but nobody told me, Sandra, take care of your body, take care of your mind, take care of your energy. Because if somebody would have told me that when I was 18, my life would have been different 100%.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying right now is, yes, we do have to overcome our trauma, and definitely release the anger. The anger has to come out through action. And I don't mean punching other people.
That could be misunderstood, so clarify it.
Yes, I mean,
Please.
like punching a pillow or a punching bag or dancing.
Yeah.
I'm an advocate of dancing, but
Okay.
then guiding the mind and the energy towards what we want. Okay, I forgive my mom, my dad. I'm doing all this work. At some point, it has to, the healing has to stop. I mean, this is what I'm finding in my life. I can't keep healing. I need
Indefinitely.
to
Uh-huh.
indefinitely. I need to say, okay, I'm gonna dedicate time for this. I'm gonna give it 10 years. I'm gonna suffer and cry for 10 years. But on year 11, I'm gonna focus solely on me. Then I'm gonna leave the past behind.
Okay.
And this is what I have uh, learn in my own life experience. So I love what you're going through, because it's going to make you vibrate higher. But be ready to lose all the people that
Yeah.
cannot be in your presence.
Yeah, that's something that I've been feeling too. Something
Hmm.
that scares me too, but I just have to accept it. And also,
Yes,
you mentioned that sometimes you mentioned that if I lived in another culture or another family, things will be different. But the thing that I've been learning is that actually it will be different, but the way that things are is the thing that my soul needs to live
of
and
course.
to learn to
Hmm.
heal its wounds or his wounds, and to be able to learn what he needs to learn, in able to share what he needs, what he wants to share in this world. When I'm actualizing my potential, then I'm going to be able to share a gift.
Of
To be
course.
able to share that gift, I need to go through all the things that I had to go through in my family.
Hmm.
And that's something that is really helpful because it allows you to accept, uh, and acceptance then leads to love later. But to just be able to accept is crucial to have inner peace, and that's something that a lot of people need.
100%. Accepting is key for life. You have to
Mm.
be able to look at yourself in the mirror and accept whether you're a great person or you're a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
You have to accept who you are so that you can then become more or less, but that you decide, not the trauma decide. You get to decide what you
Mm-hmm.
want to do and be. But acceptance is super important in our life. I strongly, when I teach people how to do mirror work, the number one exercise is that work on accepting yourself. Tell yourself how much you love yourself, how you're so happy to be who you are. And it's incredible how people reject those words when they're looking at themselves in the mirror, right?
Yeah, is
So,
is really strong actually, that inner shaming voice or inner critic, that you say something beautiful to yourself and you say, and you hear a voice saying you just say it because you should say it to feel better, but you're actually not like that.
no, or he says, no, you're
Yeah.
not that, no.
Yeah,
So,
like what the fuck are you talking about? You don't see yourself in the mirror? Come on. And I was, come on.
so, so that's where nourishing our mind comes in. You
Uh-huh.
know, nourish the good thoughts, the good feelings, the good emotions, rather than so much of the other stuff. And then
Yeah.
I just want to say that because the way we are very aligned with our conversation, but there is a lot of people out there that don't believe that we pick our parents when we come to this space.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to clarify that this is for people that understand and believe that we humans pick our situations so that we can transform and move on to our next level of living. That's
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. So, but I
Yeah.
love that you feel this way because it makes our relationship so much more easy.
And yeah, and actually I think I also have like that doubtful part. uh Aura, the therapist that helped me with Reiki and the inner child healing, says that due to that broken relationship that I have with my father, I tend to feel like unstable, and it's really hard for me like to have a ground and to say I believe in this or that. It's really hard for me actually. That's something that I'm healing. So I also have that doubtful part about, well, did we really show our parents? But for those people, because I can connect with those people really deeply, I just say, well, if that's not the case, in the end, we ultimately need to find a way to think, because our thoughts create our reality. A way to think that will allow us to be the happiest or to experience the life that we really want. So you see people that believe that, and if those people are having an experience of life that is much more richer and beautiful and so on, why you don't try it, just like a thought experiment, to see
Yes.
what happens and to see if it works? Because ultimately I think that we should go with the things things that feel better. It's like when I was having also a healing with aura that was very spiritual. It was release of certain programs that our soul has, and she was guided with a pendulum
Nice.
to receive certain information. And I was doing my best to keep myself open, but I have a voice in my head because I was born being a Jehovah Witness
Right.
and with a lot of tight religious beliefs, and I
Hmm.
have much respect to them. Is not saying that they are beautiful individuals, of course, but their beliefs are very tight.
Right.
So I had that thought that, oh my God, this is from the devil. So what is going to happen to me? What if I'm going to die?
Oh my God, that's so cute.
So I was, even though my intention was to keep myself open, I had a voice in my head that was closing myself and closing myself. So I said that to Aura, and she said to me, like, when you go to a certain place, sometimes you go to a certain place and you see the people and so on, and you feel an energy of very heavy energy, and you say, ah, I don't like being in this place, I will better go. And sometimes you go to another place and you feel a beautiful energy and you want to stay, and you enjoy it. So that's something that goes beyond concepts. So how do I feel? How did I was feeling in that experience? I was feeling really light,
Nice.
and the energy in that room when I was having that therapy,
Nice.
spiritual therapy, was a very positive energy. So what I don't go with that, because concept is something that can fuck you up really strongly, because it's really hard to know through your mind if something is quote unquote true. Is sometimes someone might say that it's actually impossible. We need something that goes beyond the mind to really experience life to the fullest. That's my belief, and that's something that I said that is really hard for me to believe something, but I really believe that.
But you know that is your subconscious mind, your programming, that the one that is rejecting the process. But you, the real you, wants it. That's why you are there.
Uh-huh.
You land in there because your inner energy, let's call it
Uh-huh.
your soul, is it wants you to do this. But your programming is telling you this is hocus pocus. You're gonna turn into a cat.
Yeah, something like that. So the message there is just to guide
Trust.
yourself more with that feeling when you go to a certain place and you feel that it's beautiful and
Mhm.
it's just the place that you want to be in. So guide yourself more in that with that
Yeah.
feeling.
Trust
Mm-hmm.
your intuition. Trust your inner voice.
Mm-hmm.
Don't listen to the mind, but trust it, like what kind of feeling you get in your heart, in your stomach. Is it telling you, I love this, I want to be here? And then your mind is like, why are we here? I don't want to be here. Wah, 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 wah. And your heart is like, but I want to be here. I feel nice. Yeah, we're not supposed to be here. And so is that right? Is that
Yeah,
connection? Is that
that's good for a TikTok.
yes.
uh,
So I think that this is like super important, especially uh, to do business and be happy, because we talked
mhm.
in the episodes before how you can accumulate massive amount of money and still kill yourself when you have a
Yeah.
$1 billion because you couldn't overcome the voices inside, the pain, the shame. So what's the point of making all that money if you can't even enjoy it? So I think that you're doing your process the right way, JJ. And I can't wait to see where you're going to be in 10 years from now,
Thank you
for
so much.
sure. So, what would you recommend the audience to do if somebody that is listening to us is going through some kind of, they're rejecting their indoctrination?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody your age that would like to free themselves from the self-talk that is not allowing them to move forward, whether it's you're lazy, you're never amount to anything,
Mm.
or whatever God is watching, you know, what would you recommend?
Yeah, I really think and I really believe that you need to connect with that voice that tells you what's next, what's the next step, because always the answer is within. But we are so clouded by media, by
Yes.
distractions, by dopamine, by a lot of things, culture, family, that we don't hear that
Propaganda.
voice. Yeah.
Mhm.
So what I will recommend is that slow down, take time without television, without the phone, without anything, and take time to just feel that uncertainty and that turmoil, and write and ask yourself what I want, what is next, and keep
Nice.
yourself open to receive an answer.
Nice. I love
And
it.
when you feel that something is authentic, you feel it. When you feel that that's what I want to do it, because you
Do it.
cannot live a life that's conditioned by what other people might think. And a lot of
Hmm.
times we are even worried by people that we don't even know. And we live lives that are conditioned. But what if my neighbor, or what if that guy that is walking over there in the street thinks that I'm silly or thinks that I'm weak?
Right.
uh, and that's why we don't approach people that we need help from, or that's why
Yes.
we don't go out and sell something or make an offer in business, for example. But we are being conditioned by people that we don't even care about.
That's
But
true.
we should care about what we want and what our authentic essence is telling us to do next.
So
Mm-hmm.
basically, you're saying be yourself, take the plunge,
Mm-hmm.
and do it.
Yeah, and first you need clarity for that, and the clarity part is the detox part. Like, be
Well,
alone.
yes, I want to say
Mm-hmm.
that I was watching this person, and he was saying how this is related to business.
Mm-hmm.
How if he wants to, he will launch five different business and see which one will start working and which one will fail.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was like an amazing approach for
Mm,
because it's all in. It's all in. You're all in. This didn't work. This worked. This didn't work. What do you think about that?
uh, I think I'm not the expert, but I've
Mhm.
been having a feeling. Uh, I think that there are certain types of people or archetypes, if you want
Oh,
to say.
okay, 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 okay,
There are people that are more like maybe the warrior type that just
okay,
love to be in the trenches no matter what
okay,
you're doing.
okay,
So for those type of people, I will say absolutely,
okay.
because you just love to be in the trenches and to be out there and just try different things, and whatever thing that works, you're going to love doing it because you love the fight. You love
So
that it works.
it's all about the archetype. Is a very good point because we're not the same. We're all different. So
Yeah,
okay,
because I've been feeling sometimes that I'm not, like, more personally in this self-discovery process, that I'm not living aligned with my archetype, because
okay.
I feel that I should be that warrior and that guy that
Oh, okay.
loves to be in the fight, and that archetype of the typical stereotypical man. But I feel
The alpha
the
men,
alpha
right?
man,
Okay.
because it's what I have watched a lot.
Uh-huh.
But I feel that I'm not the usual man. I'm more like the lover man. That's another archetype.
I love it. It's beautiful.
I'm more like the artist, like the lover, like the
Hmm.
fluid man that just likes to see a landscape and is amused by the beauty of a river and so on, and loves to be sometimes alone, just hearing music or all that. So if you are like me, that is more like kind of maybe introverted, but it's
Okay.
not from reaction. Sometimes I do it from reaction too. I'm not perfect, but
Mhm.
sometimes you feel that that essential part wants to be alone, just to enjoy uh, loving the basic things of life, like the things that are conventional. Just realize that you might use a different path that is the path that is the most popular path. So what I'm being feeling is that, okay, if you are that type of guy, you want to find the thing that you love because you're the lover. You're driven
Okay.
by love. So find the thing that you love, because in business, you need to do the work, and you need to really uh, stick with something,
Right.
even in the hard times, even when that thing is not working, quote unquote, even in the failures. You have to stick with it. And if you are a lover and you're driven by love, and if you are doing something that you really don't want to do, you're going
Right.
to feel like,
Suffer. You're gonna suffer.
yeah, maybe in the parts when you are succeeding, quote unquote, you are going to be driven by that validation. And that's something that happens to me. When I do certain work that gives me validation, sometimes people say to me, but I see that you like it. For example, in design,
Mm-hmm.
I do design. And I have a friend that see what I think that you like design. But within myself, I think that I actually like the validation that gives me to do something that people like. And a lot of times I'm designing thinking, okay, yeah, I see the reaction of someone else looking at that thing. And that was gives me like that pleasure, but it's not internal, and that's so unhealthy. We really need to find, and that's what you need, that solitude and that time of introspection. But it's not to think about it, to feel about it and wait for an answer, to realize what you love. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you find what you love, you're going to stick with it in the hard times. You're going to be able to hustle it, uh, but that hustle will be just because it's the way that you are, and it's going to be an expression of yourself. And if you're a lover, you have to prioritize what you love, and things are just going to work out, because you're also going to attract what you need, because you'll have the energy of love, not the energy of fear, and so on. So that's my thought in relationship to that.
So we should definitely have a conversation about the archetypes for business and that stuff. But I want to say
Mm.
that for me, I'm always going to choose the path of least resistance. So
Okay.
whatever is going to flow, whatever that's my archetype. The path of least resistance. But I
Okay.
love that you were able to share with us what you're going through. And I want to thank you for being vulnerable and showing your authenticity with
Mm.
the people that listen to us, because it's important for others to understand that we're only human too, that we are doing this to help others, the people that are listening, to maybe because sometimes we feel alone in what we're going through. So you opening up to your process, I just want to thank you for doing so in this live setting rather than just us talking. Is very brave and courageous, and I just want to say thanks. So
uh,
next
you're very
week,
welcome.
I'm gonna work on bringing an amazing guest for us, and
Yeah.
next week also I'm going to Seattle,
Mm.
so I can't wait. Yeah. Mhm.
Amazing. I love
Yes,
travel, so I'm really happy for you to travel.
yes, me too. So let's catch up next week then.
Uh huh.
Okay, and thank you again for doing this for us and for everybody else that is listening.
You're very welcome, and it's my pleasure, because also something that I think that I love is to, in a way, be able to those people that are facing similar challenges that I have faced or that I'm facing right now, to be able to help them in a way, to
Yes, a
contribute
hundred
to them.
percent.
So,
That's what we're doing by
uh
being here. And I love it. And thank you, JJ. I know you have to take time from your very busy schedule to do this. So I want to thank you 100%.
And you too. Thank you
Okay.
so much. So have a beautiful, gorgeous, marvelous day. The
Yes.
audience too, all of
Yes.
you, and
And
much
we'll
love
see
to
you
everyone.
again. Bye bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Ciao.